When we got back from our road trip, things felt lighter, at least at first. For a few weeks, I rode the high of our spontaneous adventure, replaying the golden moments in my head like a favorite song. The way Oliver had laughed when I dragged him through a sunflower field, the quiet nights under the stars, the unplanned detours that led to surprising discoveries. It had been exactly what I needed. But soon, reality crept back in, as it always does. The familiar patterns began to take hold again. Weeknights spent on the couch, weekends filled with the same routines. I could feel the restlessness building inside me like a storm cloud. At first, I ignored it, telling myself I was just adjusting to being home again. But deep down, I knew better. It all came to a head one Friday evening. I had suggested going out to a new art gallery downtown, a pop-up exhibit that promised bold, avant-garde installations, the kind of place that set my imagination on fire. But Oliver, true to form, had a different idea.
Why don't we stay in tonight?
He said, glancing up from the book he was reading.
We could cook something together, maybe watch that documentary we didn't finish last week.
I tried to keep my frustration in check, but it spilled out anyway. We always stay in, Oliver. I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over again. He looked at me, his brow furrowing.
It's not the same thing. We're spending time together. Isn't that what matters?
It matters, I admitted, pacing the room. But I need more than this. I need excitement, new experiences, something to look forward to.
So what are you saying?
He asked, his voice calm but edged with something I couldn't quite place.
That what we have isn't enough for you?
His words hit me like a punch to the gut. That's not what I'm saying, I replied, though even as the words left my mouth, I wasn't sure if they were entirely true. I don't want us to fall into a rut. Don't you ever feel like we're losing what made us, us? Oliver sighed, setting his book aside.
Fiona, I'm not trying to make things boring. I just don't see the point in constantly chasing the next big thing. Can't we just be happy with what we have?
His question lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken tension. I didn't know how to answer him, not in a way that would make sense. For him, stability was a comfort. For me, it felt like a cage. How could I explain that without making it sound like I was blaming him for something that wasn't really his fault? The conversation ended there, but the distance between us grew. Over the next few weeks, our interactions felt strained. Little misunderstandings began to pile up, each one adding another brick to the wall forming between us. One night, as we were cooking dinner, I accidentally knocked a pot of boiling water onto the counter.
Fiona, you need to pay attention,
Oliver said, his tone sharper than usual.
You're always so distracted.
I'm sorry, I said, biting back a retort, but his words stung more than I cared to admit. He wasn't wrong. I did get distracted easily. It was part of who I was, for better or worse. But hearing it framed as a flaw made me feel small, like I wasn't enough. Another time, we argued over something as trivial as where to order takeout.
Why does everything have to be such a big deal with you?
He asked, exasperated. Because I care, I shot back. I want things to feel special, not just ordinary.
Not everything has to be special all the time,
he said, shaking his head.
Sometimes it's okay to just be.
I knew he meant well, but his words felt like a dismissal of everything I valued. I didn't want to just be. I wanted to live, to feel alive, to chase the sparks that made life worth living. But how could I explain that without making him feel like he wasn't enough for me? The irony wasn't lost on me. I was a Gemini, supposedly skilled in communication, and yet I couldn't seem to bridge the growing gap between us. Every time I tried to express my feelings, it came out wrong, twisted into something I didn't mean. And every time Oliver tried to understand, I could see his patience wearing thin. One evening, as I sat alone on our balcony, staring out at the city lights, I felt a pang of loneliness that scared me. Oliver was inside, just a few feet away, and yet he felt miles apart. I knew we loved each other. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that love wasn't enough to solve the fundamental differences between us. As much as I hated to admit it, we were at an impasse. And if something didn't change soon, I wasn't sure how much longer we could keep pretending everything was okay.